Hello there, my name is Yatha, and welcome to my video, and also welcome to the Nintendo side of YouTube. I've been a consumer for like over a decade.
In that long ago land of something like 2013, I needed to look up what this number combination was in Paper Mario Sticker Star, and instead I stumbled upon a review of Paper Mario Sticker Star trashing my game. I got very butthurt as an 8-year-old and was confused as to what the heck they meant by Mario games were getting boring and whatever the heck a good battle system was. And while I did find that number combination, little did I know that I had been introduced to the complex that is the Super Mario fanbase on the internet. This video is not about Paper Mario Sticker Star, but it is about an 8-year-old me, as well as a 14-year-old me, as well as a me now. Because when I was 8, I only played and knew of the Mario games I was given. By the time I was 14, I've known of every Mario game and knew of what people thought of them, but I haven't played every single one myself. But now, I've done my duty as an incubated child of the Super Mario fanbase on the internet, and I've played nearly every mainline Mario game. And so, I've been shackled by this YouTube matrix for far too long. It's time that I impart the consensus used to dictate my opinion, because... Hello!
My name is Yatha, and welcome to Yattakucha!
Back in the early 2010s, I would hear Mario fans, probably about a decade older than me, unanimously bash some games while praising others. And I thought that I just had to accept this as fact. That's just what the opinion was. And you couldn't go against it. But then I realized, opinions can be different. So, today, I will be going through every mainline Mario game and share you that I actually have different opinions on some things, and some things I agree with. So, and this will be as your average neighborhood Mario fan that's still technically a teenager. Starting with the first one.
This is June of 2024.
I sat down and I was like, I need to beat this game fully legit, no save states. I even went in doing this with the intention of using no warps, meaning every level all the way through back to back. Only problem was that when you run out of lives, the game boots you to the very beginning. Oh my god!
Now, if you press A and start when you game over, you begin at the very first level of the world you were on, but I didn't know that, so forget that feature existed.
So with this half information, I couldn't beat every level back to back, but I still beat every level individually. But I still needed to be a true legit Mario fan, however, so I was like, fine, I'll do no save states, but with world skips for each attempt. With each attempt restarting at the damn title screen, because what else is new? Playing the same levels over and over again frustrated me, but I soon found myself building dexterity. Soon I was memorizing levels and mastered the dual personality of Mario's 1985 momentum and his commitment to a near career path in acrobatics every time you jump. But with time, I beat the game in one fell swoop without save states, fully legit. Despite 1985's Super Mario Bros. Being frankly overrated, I'm glad I gave this game what it deserved. After beating it, I was urged to find secrets and even watch speedruns and that in particular. I knew what these players were performing. I could feel what they were pressing. It was fun and exhilarating because I knew exactly the little technicalities here and there, but I'm in an odd position. Because despite this game's revolutionariness and what had happened for me, it really is just a retro novelty for most. If you're watching this video, you are either my friend, which hello there, or you're a Nintendo fan. And for the latter, you likely praise this game for its innovation. Yet for most of you Nintendo fans, have you ever actually beaten Super Mario Bros? It begs an interesting question because Super Mario Bros. Really did raise the bar for what a video game could be. But I can't call you a great game if even if your most passionate fan base say, yeah, it's revolutionary, but it hasn't aged well by today's standards. I hear this sentiment all the time, and to be honest, I agree. This game is a great game, but I had to frustrate myself, thinking that I really did just suck at video games before being able to appreciate what it had to offer. And the only reason I bared through Mario's NES jank is because this game is just so revolutionary. If I wasn't a Mario fan, I would have maybe beaten World 1 and then stopped caring. It's too old for me to bend for its wishes. But being a Mario fan did push me to create an experience I may have never had. But does me being a Mario fan helping me to become acquainted to how it all started make this a good standalone game? It's a surprisingly nuanced question that ultimately comes down to what you think makes a game good. Despite the lost levels being lost because Americans didn't want to pay a paid Kaizo expansion to the original, It's well known that The Lost Levels wasn't released outside Japan due to it being too hard for Western audiences. And yes, this game has blind jumps, invisible blocks, mid-air Koopa jumps, and in all, requires platforming that feels like a speedrunning trick. The only thing that The Lost Levels is known for is being hard, and it barely brings anything new to the table, with the only notable exceptions being variants of pre-existing things that exist just to be hard. It's just hard and that's it.
So that's why the internet hates this game, but I gotta tell you why I actually like it.
Also in June of 2024.
After beating Super Mario Bros., I logically thought to advance to its direct sequel, and also beat it without save states, being a grander challenge given its reputation. After accustoming towards the slight jank of movement in the original, I saw the Lost Levels' weird jumps and bullshit mechanics as a fun refresh, with new and grander horizons. When I discovered that warp pipe taking you backwards, I genuinely laughed out loud because I knew this game was bullshit, but I didn't expect a prank like this. Better yet, I happily replayed the levels it sent me back to because I was having fun!
Playing the first game felt like a history lesson, while The Lost Levels actually felt like a good game. The original was frustrating until I got good, and once I got good, it became too simple. The Lost Levels understands the jank of Mario's retro controls, and utilizes it to build an experience for those that truly did master the original.
Now, I will admit, in beating this game, I did utilize save states, but only in World 8 and as a way to practice each level individually so I could master a flow of gameplay to beat Bowser legit. It felt like I was playing Geometry Dash's practice mode. Never have I done this in a Mario game. In the original, I thought speedrunners were cool because I understood and admired the complexities of how they were controlling themselves. But I never got the satisfaction to actually speedrun since I never speedrun the game. But since this game asked me to perform like a speedrunner and do speedrunning tricks, I got the satisfaction of being a speedrunner. Also, this game lets you more clearly start over at the beginning of each world, so I couldn't be an idiot. Fun fact, on my old channel, I have a recording of me beating World 8 all the way through after just deeply practicing each level individually. But beware of dogs, this is the worst ratio of dislikes in any video I've ever made. I feel weird with this game too, because while I do prefer it over the original, I understand this criticism, and in no world would I recommend this over the OG. But this game makes me more excited, it makes me just have more fun, and in general, because it's more challenging and it's more intuitive for me, and the levels are just, they're better engaging, I like this game better, and a lot of people are gonna throw flame at me for that, and I know that, but again, I just like this game better. I think the original was a little too boring for me, and if you're gonna just be like, oh my gosh, what do you mean by this? I want you to play through both games, back to back, with no save states, just like I did, and maybe you'll agree.
Wow!
The internet holds relatively homogenous opinions on the first two Mario titles, being that Super Mario Bros. Was super revolutionary, and then The Lost Levels doesn't bring anything new and is too hard and isn't worth your time. Which, by the way, I feel like that last line is a couple people said that, maybe one person, and then now everyone else agrees, because welcome to the internet. Yet on the contrary, I don't know what the general consensus is on 2USA. Besides the fact that this game has quirky trivia and then a Birdo.
That's the idea I had coming into playing this game. In that it's different, but that's okay because it's weird and quirky.
Again, in June of 2024.
I had just triumphantly beaten Super Mario Bros. In Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. Where can I go next? Time to challenge Super Mario Bros. 2 USA. Oh no, the game is challenging? But that's nothing new. If I can get through the Lost Levels, I can get through this. I'll just come back tomorrow. And then tomorrow became tomorrow's tomorrow. And then maybe a month after that. I still have not cared to beat this game. I'll spare you the details as to why this game didn't click with me, but the general synopsis is that while the level design was unique and distinct, the controls were frustrating and the level design itself was also frustrating in a way that was different to the first two games, and it just made me not want to care. While its two predecessors debatably have the age problem even worse, they also have this mysticism and satisfaction to its gameplay, while this game just feels like another NES platformer. Maybe that's because it is! Unlike the first three titles, I had not played this game in June of 2024. Instead, it's been years since I last played this title. After becoming acquainted with the Super Mario fanbase on the internet, and learning about many of these retro titles, and learning about how they are all apparently better than whatever modern trash Nintendo's pumping out nowadays, I came to realize I needed to play the classics. So aside from blips with the original, Super Mario Bros. 3 via the Wii U Virtual Console, out of all things, was the very first Mario game I played that was before my time, and I loved it. I thought it was a fun game. Granted, I had to save state my way through the whole thing, but it was a worthy $5 to finally be terrorized by the angry sun like we all were when we were kids. Granted, I was negative 15 when this game came out, so like they were relevant to me. Yeah, creepers were what terrorized me as a kid. Get with the times. And also, this guy is not hard to evade. They have a predictable pattern. I don't see why people talk about them so much, aside from the concept of the sun screaming at you in a Mario game being admittedly kind of funny. But any nostalgia wars aside, Super Mario Bros. 3 is still a great game. The controls never frustrated me like the first two, and the game is thematically unique and wacky, yet in a way that still represents picturesque Mario. And best of all, this game ages incredibly well for being released in the late 80s. While there are some outdated elements present, this is a game I could seriously recommend playing today alongside modern industry giants. However, if we're going to compare Super Mario Bros. 3 to modern giants and it being toe-to-toe with them, we're gonna have to talk about one big problem. And no, it has nothing to do with its graphics or its presentation, all of that is fine. Instead, it has to do with the fact that this game lacks iconicity within itself. And you may be confused with what I mean here, so let's talk about it. Let me compare this game to Super Mario Bros. Wonder. A benefit of Wonder is that if you play one level, you can talk to other people who have also played that level, and they immediately know what you're talking about. Meanwhile, the best Super Mario Bros. 3 has to say is the first level, the last level, and then that damn angry sun, because that's what everyone talks about for some reason. Now I hear you saying, oh, but the worlds as a whole are all distinct. And I agree, but now instead it's just the first level of each world, then the last level of each world, and everything in between is just, oh yeah, that world. I don't often hear specific levels, just the world. To understand the magnitude of what I'm talking about here, see that Super Mario Bros. Wonder has 77 distinct levels. Super Mario Bros. 3 has 8 really long, distinct levels, all with a ton of fat. That means that Super Mario Bros. Wonder is 862.5% more iconic than Super Mario Bros. 3. Now, obviously, this is a massive oversimplification, as there are many other levels in Super Mario Bros. 3 I'm conveniently forgetting about, and each level in Wonder is not astutely unique, but it does show how I feel. However, you could argue that 8 really long levels creates an overall product that's unique, creating its own unique type of iconicity. So, despite all the criticisms that I just threw against Super Mario Bros. 3, I still do respect it, and it's still a great game. Don't worry. I first experienced this title on the SNES Classic. Yes, I have one of those things, and yes, I legitimately use it, although I later played it again on NSO. But yeah, I did beat Super Mario World on an officially Nintendo licensed SNES controller, so that's cool. Immediately, I noticed that Super Mario World does exploration really well. Sure, Super Mario Bros. 3 created a map, but Super Mario World created a world! Finding a switch room is satisfying, and I even enjoy the challenge of finding all 5 Dragon Coins. Though I've never 100%ed this game, I have the desire to do so because it is an immersive journey. Granted, I may not have done that because the controls are slippery and sometimes the level design is dumb, though I digress. But it all works together to create this great game. But, oh man, these levels all mix in again. How has nobody mentioned this about these older games? Just a minute ago, I brought up Super Mario Bros. Wonder. However, now I want to bring your attention to the new Super Mario Bros. Games. You know, the ones that are universally disliked by Mario fans for meshing together. What if I told you that the copy-pasta new Super games yield levels that felt more distinct from one another than the two retro greats of Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World? It's not a thematic problem these games have. New Soup are the ones with a thematic problem. It's a design problem. These levels don't play distinct. The whole game feels distinct, but it lacks distinction beneath its layers. I bring up this point not to brew negativity around these retro juggernauts, but instead to open up people's minds to the idea that newer games have gotten better past just resolution and frame rate, or at least most people's minds. And it's about a design problem. These newer games have gotten better in a design respect, and I'm not going to be able to try to explain that because I'm unable to do so, but have someone who can feel, I feel that newer games have been designed better. And just like the advancement of technology, the advancement of knowledge follows a shared path that newer is objectively better. So apply this to video games, and maybe you might see that newer feels better. There's been more refinement here. However, with all this said, these retro juggernauts still do deserve the praise that they get, as they still are great, amazing games. So don't worry, again. Also, on the topic of Super Mario World, I feel obligated to mention Yoshi, as this was the game he spawned from. He's cool, granted I only use him as an extra hit, but still cool.
Super Mario Land was a launch title for the Game Boy in 1989, with only 12 levels. It's like a passion project indie game that really isn't that impressive, but it's cute.
Super Mario Land has the benefit of me playing it recently, and still the only thing I can say is... aww. Like, I'd feel bad if I called it bad, since it is a polished game considering its circumstances, but your average Joe does not need to care about, oh, Daisy, Daisy! Although I will say, instead of Mario committing to a career in acrobatics, he instead commits a career to Olympic diving.
What else do you want me to say? It's Super Mario Land. I play this game like junk food all I can YouTube videos.
As of writing this video, I'm still working on playing through, and it's not a Super Mario Bros. 2 USA situation either. I got busy with other games and writing this video. So while I haven't beaten this game yet, I can say it's a huge step up from the first. Mashing the hover through the air as Bunny Mario is shockingly engaging. Entering Mario's balls is shockingly engaging.
Oh my gosh!
I kept dying to these 3 little pigs for some reason.
I don't get it!
The bricks you can only break as Fire Mario is shockingly engaging. So, first impressions is that this game is even more cute than Land 1.
Oh my god!
And it's more technically impressive than the original, although it's still a Game Boy game, and I mean that in Mario's movement and the level design creates a game in a way that we're not smashing any walls here.
I mean, I've beaten Super Mario 64 once, and it was a good game, but... I don't know. Oh! 東京はなんだ?
Wah! Wah!
あのもの.
Wah!
ここで出られる。それにしても、なんでこの世界では僕はエコができないの? 任天堂号だけだ。でもマリオ界に引き込んでものすごい感じがする。ちょっと嬉しいな。あの怪獣を倒すべきゃ。So long, Gay Bowser. Spell's broken. I can speak English now.
Some say Super Mario Sunshine is an acquired taste. I didn't beat the game. I don't think I acquired the tastes. This is what happens in games you like, but you just couldn't beat. You think it's fun, you think it's engaging, and then you get stuck somewhere, and for some reason you'll say you'll come back, and then for some reason you don't. And now enough time has passed, and by this point you'll just replay the damn thing. And again, I want to beat this game, it's just... I don't know, things got in the way. Super Mario Sunshine has always been elusive to me. And in the past, I've mentioned that I've had and listened to all these retro junkies geek out about how Super Mario Bros. 3 was where Mario peaked and has all been going downhill since then. However, there's another group of people, a less prominent group of people, that would do kind of the same thing, but with a game like this. And I'm gonna call them the GameCube dudes.
Sunshine is weird, but cool and different and refreshing for Mario. Not like the new stuff that rehashes what's proven to work.
And then the retro junkies would fire back with how annoying that one pachinko level was, which I did beat, by the way, and how this had to do with the game being rushed and unpolished. I love watching them fight.
Why don't we just all be friends? Oh no, they're teaming up on me!
Super Mario Sunshine is a very odd game, Mario game especially, and as an odd individual, I love that. But Sunshine, just between you and me, we're an acquired taste. Some people just won't like you.
New Super Mario Bros. The game's so new, it's nearly half the age of Mario himself.
This is also the first game we're discussing where I was technically alive. Yes, now, I'm no old toy, I'm a new baby. The funny part is that I was a 1-year-old when this game released, so I really only mean technically. Did you know I voted? But what do I think about this game? It's probably super nostalgic as baby Mario fans' first new Mario game. Never played it. Still have never gotten around to it. I know that's shocking given how well this game has sold. Bro, cut me a break, okay? When I was 6 years old, I played Super Mario Galaxy 2 at a friend's house during a playdate, and I went home and I told my mom, hey, for my 7th birthday, I want Super Mario Galaxy 2. But they were like, why don't you play the first one? And so, for my 7th birthday, I got Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii in 2012. And I first popped this game in with my sister, actually, and it was great. I loved it. However, I immensely sucked at video games, and I would be basically relegated to the player 2, just shooting starbits as my sister did all the heavy lifting. So I never really got to truly play this game as a kid, and instead, I would just look up at the stars with Rosalina. I would just appreciate Rosalina's Observatory. Rosalina's Observatory is one of my favorite Mario songs, or video game songs, or songs ever. I've listened to it when I'm just sad sometimes. It's just a good, chill thing, and I would explore Rosalina's Observatory a lot more than actually play the game because I sucked at video games. And what I'll do is I get these 3 1-ups I always remember. I get the 1-up in the crate near the toad, I get the 1-up behind the kitchen, and then I also get the 1-up beneath the spinning green platforms in Rosalina's Observatory. Those are the ones I really like to get. And all this time spent just in Galaxy's mood, while I would occasionally try to get stars on my own when my sister was somewhere else, and I sucked at the game, so I never did anything besides just learning how to get 1-ups over and over again, because I didn't want to, game over or piss someone off. I was always scared to do anything. It would all created this sense of, just awe. I was like, every time I would play Mario game after that, I would be like, wow, Galaxy was like this, is like this too, but Galaxy's spacey. It's all wonky and cool. And, however, since I sucked at video games as a kid, I never beat it. I never got around to beating it. I let myself just kind of get distracted by other things because, I don't know, other things popped up in my life, that's just how things happen. So, for years and years and years, every time I play a new Mario game, every time I go back and play older Mario games, for pretty recently too, because this is a pretty recent endeavor in terms of me replaying Super Mario Galaxy as a spoiler, I would just be impressed, be like, wow, people talking about other Mario games, be like, Galaxy was here too. That's the biggest sense I got. It's like, Galaxy is always here. It was always there. It's just like other things I've done in my life that I've gone back to and replayed or redone or re-immersed myself into. I would always be like, wow, Galaxy is in the same boat. It's always there. It impressed me. Even though I never really played the game, it impressed me. And a couple months ago, I'll talk about this a little bit more later in the video, but a couple months ago, I had this big renaissance with video games. I just started letting myself play video games again, and soon I was like, you know what? I'm going to play Galaxy again. Because it's a big chopping block. I had a big lot of games to just get myself through, and so I was like, let's replay Galaxy. And oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I'm saying this as recently. I'm saying this as in a couple months ago recently. I played through the game. This game takes itself so seriously. Everything, the music is incredible. Probably my favorite soundtrack. The level design, not my favorite, but I'll get to that in a bit. After in Galaxy 2. But still good, still imaginative, still creative, and goes along with the cosmic feel and vibe that Galaxy is very well known for. So all in all, oh my gosh, I love the game. That's why I'm sitting down here and just doing this, because I love the game. I thought it was incredible. I never beat it as a kid though, so I was actually like, you know what? I'm gonna beat this game. Go through all the galaxies. I got through most of the stars, and then I got to Bowser, and I'm like, ooh, now it's tense. And oh my god, the Bowser fights are so epic. No other Mario game has that. It's like screaming choir in the background of those fights. I feel like the da-dee-da-da is like started the trend of video game music being like hee-haw, hee-haw. That's, I don't know why video games stereotypically like to do that. I always do that myself as a kid. I think it's because I played Galaxy. But never seen the ending, never finished out Rosalina's story, never did all that. And when I finally beat this game, oh my god, I cried. I actually cried. It's that impactful.
yes, that was Baby Mario fans' first new Mario game.
I was going to make a joke on how this was just some inferior version of the DS game, but that's what everyone else says, and I didn't even play the DS game because I was, doing other things. When Nintendo fans talk about their favorite video games, they have to be hyper-conscious of historical context.
No, this game isn't good because it's doing what the title did before, but okay, I guess it did add 4-player co-op and the Return of the Cooping. I guess it's not bad.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii gets a lot of flame for not being anything original and just being a rehash of the DS game. And the only leeway I see it given is that it, had the Return of the Koopalings, and it brought 4-player co-op, and that's it. But I'd argue that in exchange for being revolutionary, you instead get a game that's well-refined and has levels that are all individually memorable. Okay, does this game feel like the wallpaper to a party city? Sometimes, sure. But playing the newer games and the older games side by side, the newer ones are designed better. They're less frustrating, and almost every level is worth discussing on their own. And even with the existence of the DS game, this is still a great iteration for the home console experience. I won't engage in the ranking game, but I will say that New Super Mario Bros. Wii is at least right on par with these older giants. I'm gonna mention another YouTuber who's importantly my age, as his video corroborates the point I've been trying to make here. Yes, I watched the whole thing. This guy went and played a lot of 2D Mario levels, and ranked all of them, both new and old. And even to his surprise, it went against the common notion. He consistently felt the new Super games were deserving of higher spots than the retro titles, as they were more fun to actually play. Again, I don't think any of the new Super games are better. Rankings are massive oversimplifications. But it helps my point that while these games can be thematically weak, they prove technically strong. Now, I mentioned that this was my first Mario game, so what about those experiences? Well, I remember it being good, and I'll always remember seeing gameplay of old levels through other means, and remembering playing those levels with my 2 older siblings. I remember discovering the world skips on my own and finding them exciting as a kid, especially after the Ludwig Castle in World 7 was too hard for some reason, so there was a skip that got us to World 8. But other than that, yeah, I don't got too much in-depth commentary, as I sold this game to play for other games a decade ago, and I haven't gotten the chance to get it back. The problem with me discussing older games I played as a kid is that not only has it been a while, but more importantly, I used to really suck at video games, and I would always rely on my older siblings to get me through things. And by a certain point, they just want to do their own thing, and yeah, I never got to beat this game as a kid despite getting right there. Go find the boss, though. After experiencing the magnum opus that was the original Super Mario Galaxy, you'd expect me to jump right into its sequel, as I've always wanted to play it all this time. I've never played it! If your store meets down again, I'll have to sell you my bathwater. Okay, I'll admit, this game is high priority in my backlog, just haven't gotten around to it, I swear! Also, from what I know of Galaxy 2, it's just Galaxy 1 but with more streamlined gameplay and better level design, but without as deep of a focus on the theming and story. And Galaxy 1's impact on me was in large thanks to its theming, and sometimes the movement of Mario kind of annoyed me slightly compared to Mario's movement in other games, so I don't think I'm missing out on the second birth of Christ here. Out of every Mario game on this list, I think 3D Land is the one that benefits the most from being played on an actual 3DS due to its 3D feature. Because unless you have one of those dumb 3D TVs from the early 2010s and you want to get the emulation working on the thing, you won't be getting the full experience, as these levels really were designed around this otherwise dumb gimmick. Turn the 3D off and it just becomes an inferior version of 3D World. And some may think, man, if we can get 3D World running on the 3DS! No, 3D World was designed for a 2D display. 3D Land, on the other hand, is different, and makes use of the 3D feature substantially. The only problem is that you have to take breaks with this type of effect being active. But a handheld's pick up and play nature works great alongside that. Only problem is that most people playing older games nowadays are going to want to play it in much longer sessions. Despite releasing in 2011, I only played 3D Land recently as a teenager, and I remember finding that 3D effect active even then, even that late into my life. But I will admit, I wanted to play the whole game right then and there, and the 3D effect eventually would hurt my eyes, so I just turned the 3D effect off and then played through the rest of the game like it was junk food. I would love to play this game a couple levels at a time with that 3D active over the course of, say, a month. But for the average person, if you want to play a real video game, you sit down and play it for a few hours at a time. And even by 2011, mobile games filled that pick up and play design much better, as it was much more convenient. And it's sad, because 3D Land is a perfect representation of what Nintendo wanted the 3DS to be, but we wanted different things, and Nintendo changed course. 3D Land, I'll play you as intended one day, although there's a long list of games in the backlog I gotta play first. So You know the ad of the blue Nintendo 3DS XL playing New Super Mario Bros. 2? Well, Christmas 2012, I saw that ad. I thought it was an iPad I saw at school because that makes perfect sense, and I asked for it. And I literally got that ad. Christmas Day came with a blue Nintendo 3DS XL and a copy of New Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, in terms of the game, I thought the whole collect a million coins gimmick was really cool, and it kept me playing, and it actually got me to beat the game as a kid, with the help of that Super Leaf they gave for me to be able to beat like half of the levels, including Bowser. I have an Excel sheet tracking games I've played in my backlog to play. New Super Mario Bros. 2 is labeled as beaten. Should I change that? I haven't played this game since I idiotically sold it to GameStop back in like 2014. So I can't say too much about it besides the whole coin gimmick getting idiot kid me to actually beat a game for a change. Kind of. I will admit, I don't remember a lot of the level designs individually, so I don't know if that whole new design argument applies here. I've been fighting against the notion that the
Older games were better because they were more original.
this whole video, and, yes, the exciting launch title to a console with a game that looks seemingly identical to its already best-selling version on Wii. I wonder how this console failed! You know how people who are obviously criminals still get lawyers? Allow me to defend. A big problem with New Super Mario Bros. Wii is that a lot of the levels were said to feel too open to account for chaotic 4-player co-op. However, in New Super Mario Bros. U, this design problem has been fixed, with a lot of levels feeling more catered for the 1 or 2 player experience while still not compromising the complexities of 4-player co-op and still being a good game. There's even the addition of the boost mode, which, as an anecdotal experience, in 2014, I used to play as that boost mode gamepad user, and I would put little blocks everywhere, helping my friends and find 1-up moons. Yes, I actually used that feature. Yes, I did. Yes, I'm not lying. And even if it is thematically similar, it makes up for being on its own and being a unique creature in itself, because it has a cohesive world map similar to that of Super Mario World, and has connecting paths and secret exits that take you out throughout the map so you can see this is a new feature that adds to world building immensely, and additionally has the addition of Nabbit, a brand new Mario character that has been reoccurring in the mainline even up to Wonder. We also go backwards, going to Peach's castle as the final castle instead of starting at it. And, oh yeah, the challenge mode. I never played it, but it's cool that it exists.
You're not supposed to say that.
Oh shit! But all problems aside, New Super Mario Bros. U is the definitive Mario experience for the new console made for you in the HD experience of the modern age. And so, with this in conclusion, it's not Nintendo's fault the Wii U failed, it's society's!
Nobody cares. Guilty.
This game is pretty good. The music is good. I remember watching a big ol' Let's Play of this whole thing before I had my own Wii U, and it was all with 4 people. Speaking of, for a multiplayer game you can actually finish, this is one of the best. Especially with a group of good friends. As a matter of fact, I have a friend that is sick of the same old Smash Bros. And Mario Kart and always wants to play some levels in 3D World instead. I love the cat suit as well. Not only does it work well functionally, but the theming with everything being a cat just because it's honestly pretty well representative of cats. I've always had a jealousy for house cats. You can mosey around, you can go anywhere in the house. Your life is truly what you make of it. If I could be any animal, I'd be a house cat.
Wow.
And clearly Bowser would too. Ever since mistaking a 3DS for an iPad and having my very own system that I would enter my own world into, I've always been a Nintendo fan. But for years, that came at a cost. I was bullied for having a system that was uncool and made for kids. Even though we were kids, for years, I just really liked Nintendo games, and I loved the other people who also stuck out to liking Nintendo games. My best friend to this day is someone who approached me since I brought my games to school because I just didn't care what other people thought of me. In 2017, I was so confident the Switch was going to be better than the Wii U that I even asked my mom to buy me stocks in Nintendo, which she said no. That would have been a good idea, Mom. But in all this confidence came from the fact that within just a year, Nintendo fans went from sad acceptance of the Wii U to a game-changing Breath of the Wild releasing, attracting all kinds of mainstream attention. And all that hype behind the Nintendo Switch made all that bullying and all that stubbornness feel finally worth it. And game-changing Super Mario Odyssey was coming up, and as a kid who loved their Mario games, I was beyond ecstatic. but I didn't have a Switch. I wasn't even close to being able to afford one for myself, and I asked my mom if I could get one for Christmas, but my family was financially struggling at the time. I never got my own allowance. I was trapped in a neighborhood full of old people who didn't want to hire a 12-year-old. My mom told me she might not be able to get me a Nintendo Switch, especially because, from her perspective, she likely thought it was some expensive fad that wouldn't be worth the investment knowing Nintendo, and I was left aloof. And so, the day after Super Mario Odyssey release, I used the little money I did have and I bought a brand new copy of Super Mario Odyssey without having literally any way to play it anywhere, just to prove that I really wanted a Switch and I really did think that Nintendo and video games meant something greater to me. I again asked if I could get a Switch for Christmas, and with seeing this copy of Super Mario Odyssey on my wall every single day, opening it, inspecting the cartridge, telling my mom how great this game was for Nintendo and how the Switch is going on the up and up, and again asking her if I could get a Switch for Christmas, her reminding me we didn't have money, and so with all this, I went to bed on Christmas Eve in utmost anticipation, because it was genuinely up in the air. If I could play the game, I stared at my wall for months, and when I meticulously opened the box that seemed like a Nintendo Switch, and it in fact was that Switch, and I popped in that game,
今こそ取り出してよ僕らかける夢の答え出す旅振りかざせその腕を空高く突き上げろ壊せ声に叫べ Oh wow 僕ら希望めがけて break free
Damn, there's still more Mario games left? We gotta get this video over with, so let's enter a lightning round!
People say this game is a work of SNES art, and I played a bit of it and I just found Baby Mario to be really annoying, and in general,
I don't get it.
I threw all these remakes together here as I like the fact that they exist and they do marginally improve the game, but these are just remakes and it's still the same game. Also, I haven't played too much of them. Cool that NSO and the Wii U Virtual Console added those e-reader levels in though. Never played it, and I'm not going to because I don't want to play a three-dimensional game on just a D-pad. Some may not want to count this one as it's not a Mario game, it's a Luigi game. Come on. Just beat this game, by the way. It's fun, pretty hard for new soup, but Luigi's physics just piss me off. Y'all deserve your own video. Some may also not want to count this one as it's just a bonus game, but come on. My favorite thing about this game is how power-ups are handled, by the way. Switching on the fly in a connected 3D world is fun, although this game is ultimately just a bonus, and while it is amazing and a great use of resources and proves a concept, I won't act like it set the world on fire. Finally, our last game. As of recording, this is the latest Mario game, and sorry if this video gets outdated with the another Mario game being announced in a Switch 2 Direct that might be in a couple of weeks after publishing, but I'll future-proof this video just a bit by talking about what this game and the series as a whole has done for me in relation to video games. I got Wonder initially with that token program thing, and I got it with Tears of the Kingdom downloaded digitally. And I'll be honest, when I first played Wonder, I kind of forced myself to play it, and I wasn't super impressed at first. And this has nothing to do with Wonder, it really has to do a lot more with me. The same thing happened to me with Tears of the Kingdom. During high school and my first bit of college, I always kind of forced myself to play video games, and I wasn't super into them like I was when I was before. And throughout that time, I would only really play games that were either Nintendo or games I grew up with, and I always just forced myself to play them because, oh, that's what I am. And I genuinely thought maybe I was growing out of video games. I was struggling to find enjoyment from the medium as a whole, and I was always prioritizing other things. However, these other things that I was investing myself into was starting to become problematic, and late of last year I was having a really difficult final season, and during that season I was like, you know what, screw it, I just need to enjoy myself because I was getting really stressed. And as such, I was like, you know what, I remember always liking Mario games, so I was like, you know what, I'll go back and beat this game that I bought. So I started playing Super Mario Bros. Wonder again, and I had a blast. I kid you not, because I put myself in such a high-stress situation, I pretty much forced myself to learn how to enjoy video games again, after just tipping my toes in and out and calling myself a fan. I even 100%ed Wonder And this is a big deal considering I never 100% games, and you can see this is like the last stage thing. I've never like beaten the last stage of a Mario game. I always was too hard. Even like Galaxy and Odyssey, I never did that because I don't know. I would try it and then I would try it. It was like, and I just get distracted by other things. I never do it. But I actually wanted to finish this game. I wanted to 100% this game. This is the first game I've ever 100%ed. So if that's your metric of what you consider a good game, is if you want 100% or not, I guess this is the greatest game of all time. And I mentioned this briefly during the Galaxy section, but I had a renaissance with video games recently after this experience, actually. And I completed all types of games during the winter. And up to me making this video, I still play video games almost every single day. Which is helped by the Switch being a portable console because I can just take it anywhere. That's great. Now, obviously, I don't think it was specifically Wonder that gave this effect. However, it had to do something with this, so that's why I'm including it in this section. As it is the game I like associate with the memory, you know. Back when I initially played Wonder, I was really skeptical of Nintendo and a lot of entertainment companies at the time, really, because I was just thinking that, oh, they're experts at getting your money, so they just want to make it as entertaining as possible through some algorithm that makes everyone want to buy it. But the thing is, I wasn't enjoying passion project indie games or anything like that either, so I don't really think that's the right argument to go down. I even remember Nintendo making Wonder purposely weird for the sake of being weird for that to grab people's attention, and my genuine criticisms of the game do kind of revolve around that fact. However, I played it now recently with this much better mindset, and something I can say is, even if corporations are good at getting your money or whatever, blah blah blah, Nintendo especially, there's genuine people working on these things. There's genuine people who want to make a good artistic experience. So whatever you want to say about the heads of these companies, there's still great games out there, and especially for Nintendo. Whatever you want to say about Nintendo's business decisions, I mean, I love the company. I think they're an amazing company because they're really good at hiring people who have artistic visions, which is why I'm still around to this day playing their games way after I grew out of them, or whatever you want to call that. I love Nintendo. They're probably my favorite multi-billion-dollar corporation, and especially after letting myself get back into video games and me making this video, Nintendo and all their game developers I am immensely passionate for and immensely thankful for. Video games get this creative, happy side out of me because they really can be works of art that speak to me personally. And as someone who struggles with a constant sense of sadness and purpose in doing anything, I am doubly immensely thankful for that. And Super Mario is the representation of that for me because it is my idea of what a good game should be. So, thank you. Thank you to video games, thank you all the developers who make them, and thank you for watching this video. Mario and video games will be with me for a very long time.